Hello everybody, thanks for watching True Prison Stories. Thought we'd have a little fun today and change it up a bit and talk about prison slang. I'll do a few from A through Z. It's always good to know what words are being used in the prison, right? We're correctional officers or we're civilian staff. It's good to know what some of these words mean in case we overhear a conversation and it could help us. But let's go over some prison slang that's used by the inmates. These are going to be some older ones, some newer ones, some not so newer ones, but somewhere in this country these terms are still being used in the prison compound, even in the jails. So what I'd like for you to do as I go through these, if you can think of one that I didn't mention, and I know you will because I can't think of all of them, don't know all of them. I'm always learning, and that's why I like to mix it up a little bit with the good, the bad, and the ugly. So here we go, folks. Let me know some that I missed. Prison slang. All day. A life sentence. Also letters. He got letters. Meaning never getting out of prison. Backdoor parole. To die or be killed in prison. Balloons. Used a lot during phone conversations, when inmates have phone conversations. Hey, it's my birthday Saturday. Sweetie, you're going to bring me some balloons. Meaning, and I've had this actually occur where we heard the phone call and then caught the visitor, suitcasing condoms or balloons in the vaginal cavity and smuggling marijuana or other drugs into the visitation for inmates. Balloons. Bam Bam room. Suicide watch room. Hey, he's in the Bam Bam room. You know, where's inmate Jones? He's in the Bam Bam room. Beef. Pretty common, right? A fight is about to happen. There's tension in the air. Hey, there's about to be a beef out there. Bitch. That's used quite a bit for all kinds of things in the prisons, right? Everybody's called a bitch, you know, officers called a bitch, just inmates called a bitch. But anyway, bitch can be used as a name for a prison homosexual, a punk, or an alternative woman, alternative man. Has also been used as slang word for habitual offender. He's a bitch, she's a bitch, habitual offender. Bitched up. The inmate is a prison snitch and has been moved to protective custody. The inmate bitched up and asked for protection, okay, because they've been snitching or they owe money or whatever. They bitched up. Bluebird, transport bus that brings in new prisoners as well as inmate transfers. Now, I heard some other states, maybe it was Canada, I'm not sure, correct me if I'm wrong, they call it the Gray Goose as well. Here in Florida, we call it the Bluebird. Other places have called it the Gray Goose because it's a big gray bus. We have big blue bus. Boiling. I'm going to boil him. Meaning throw boiling water in his face. And sometimes inmates will break up little pieces of glass, little rocks, whatever, other particles, boil it in water however they can. Whether it's in food service, a lot of this happens in food service because obviously you can get boiling water easier there. But you can. Inmates also use microwaves. They can get a boiling cup of water, hot water, and then throw it in another inmate's face. Kind of a punk move, maybe. I would think it is, but it happens. Books. Books are pretty much postal stamps, which are as good as money in prison. Hey, you got any books? I'll trade you some canteen for a book of stamps for some food, for canteen. Stamps in prison and jail are valuable and they're just like money. Break fluid. Psychiatric medication. Inmates say he's in the pill line doing the zombie shuffle. He's getting his break fluid, going to do the zombie shuffle. Brick. Used in many cases as a term for ramen noodles. You know, ramen noodles come in square bricks. A very fast snack, a very quick meal for inmates. They can buy it in the inmate canteen. They can order it through commissary, whatever. But the brick is usually a ramen noodle because it's square and it's stackable. Okay, used for quick trades with inmates as well. Hey, I'll give you a coffee for a brick. And I know a lot of you know these, but there's a lot of people watching that don't know these, and who knows, maybe even somebody out there that works in the prison system here's one that they don't know. But I would like some new ones. I would like some new ones. If you know, please put them in the comments section. Brown. You got any brown? Lots of times used for heroin, code word for heroin, brown. Bug, a prison staff member considered to be a snitch on both sides of the fence and cannot be trusted. Here's a staff member that runs and tells inmates things he should not or she should not be telling. And then they're getting information from the inmates and running back trying to be a hero. Guess what I found out the inmates are going to do today? Yes, it's good to report those things, right? But don't be a bug and work both sides of the fence. You are not being a loyal officer. Bug juice. Intoxicants, drugs. Hey, you got any bug juice? You know, and could be different meanings in different places, but bug juice is some type of intoxicant or drug. An old one, but still used from time to time, bulls. Correctional officers, bulls. The bulls are coming. Cadillac, used quite a bit still. An inmate's job assignment is a good assignment that comes with pay and extra benefits, maybe like in food service or DOT, Department of Transportation, making a little money while you're in prison. That's a Cadillac job. Working in food service, getting all you can eat while you're working in food service. That's a Cadillac. Making money working in the furniture shop. Sometimes coffee with cream, you know, a good cup of coffee in prison, let me tell you, that's worth a lot now. You know, mostly it's these packets of powder that the inmates use, and the coffee's so-so, but if they can get a good coffee with cream, that's a Cadillac, man. I had a Cadillac coffee today. Cathead. Cathead, when they're going to food service, chow hall food used mostly when they serve meatballs or meat patties. What's for chow today, man? Cathead. You know, those damn patties again. Catch a ride means party along with an inmate who has drugs. You know, who's got some? Let me catch a ride. A catcher. Nope, not baseball, folks. Weaker inmates who are the victims of sexual abuse by a predator. Catchers are also known as punks or June bugs. Cave diving. How about that? When it is lawfully and legally approved along with a medical doctor to conduct a body cavity search on an inmate. Sometimes we suspect an inmate has suitcased into a body cavity, a body purse, they sometimes call it, drugs, something illegal. Well, we get permission and we get a medical doctor's approval that they'll do it, and then we have a medical doctor go cave diving, looking for drugs and contraband. Usually has the inmate on all fours. Unfortunately, as a prison inspector, we had to cave dive a few times. I had to be present when the doctor went in, and they forced the anal cavity open, and they get in there and look with a light. Yeah, just delightful stuff that goes on. Cell pops. When a prison cell is opened purposely with the help of an officer, allowing inmates to rush in and attack the occupant. Cell pops can be done purposely, meaning you have an officer helping, which is a crime, and allowing inmates to attack another inmate. And then with the way things are today, we have a lot of faulty cells and cell doors, and inmates are doing cell pops on their own or blocking the cell where it doesn't lock all the way with a piece of cardboard or an object, and then later on they do a cell pop on their own. Chester, a child molester, also known as a baby raper, known by many inmates, or thought of by most inmates, as the worst kind of inmate of all. Cooking. The inmate was cooking, my cellmate was cooking while I was asleep, woke me up. Masturbating in your cell while your cellmate is asleep. He got caught cooking by his cellmate. Dancing on the blacktop. Fight on the recreation field, or there's going to be a fight on the recreation field. They're going to dance on the blacktop when they get out there. Diesel therapy. A long bus ride to a new prison for disciplinary reasons. Hey, I caught this guy smuggling drugs in Miami, in one of the prisons. His local contacts are all in Miami. I'm going to ship him up to the Panhandle in North Florida. Yes, I have used diesel therapy in cases like that to move them as far away from their drug contacts as possible. Eventually, after time goes on and enough classification requests, they ease their way back from North Florida to Central Florida and end up back in Miami anyway sometimes. Driver's license. Just talked about this with a guy the other day. An inmate's paperwork or document that other inmates ask for when an inmate first arrives to prison, showing his crimes. Inmates ask, where's your driver's license? Show us your driver's license, to ensure the new inmate's charges are good, meaning make sure he's not a snitch, child molester, or whatever. If he doesn't have a good driver's license, he could have a problem with the other inmates in prison. If the inmate is a child molester or a snitch transferred in, then life for that inmate will not be easy. How about a door warrior? Always banging on the cell door, the locked cell door. I'm going to kick your ass, CO. I'm going to get you, inmate. I'm going to beat everybody's ass. And then when the cell door pops open, the cell warrior shuts up and doesn't back it up, doesn't do anything. What that does when that happens is the inmate cowers down, doesn't back up his threats, and everyone sees it, and now he's labeled as a door warrior. How about dry snitching? Telling information to an officer about another inmate. Also known as the house rat. Watch out, he's a house rat. He'll tell officers what we're doing. Duck. A correctional officer who reveals information about other officers or prison staff to inmates. Also one that the inmates see as an easy target. You've heard of downing the duck. Well, the inmates are setting up this officer, who's known as a duck, to benefit themselves, bring them something in or get them information. How about an 800 number? Being a snitch again. Bitch ass ran his mouth calling the 800 number. Maybe he went to the major, maybe he went to the captain, the sergeant, maybe he went to the warden, maybe he went to the 800 hotline that some places have. The bitch ass ran his mouth again. Fallout. Falling on the ground and calling out for medical attention to create a distraction. Catching officers' attention. Sometimes inmates will fall out, act like they're injured. They need medical attention so that the officers are watching them and something else is going on over in the corner. Fire on the line, meaning an officer is approaching or a cop is on the unit. Cop on the unit, fire on the line. A warning that the popo has arrived. 4-piece suit. A full set of restraints. You got your handcuffs, your leg irons, your chain, your black box, security box, also known as, to cover the restraints in the keyhole. That's called a 4-piece suit by a lot of inmates. He's got the 4-piece suit on. He's moving. Getting booked. Getting booked means, in many cases, you're stabbed with a shank, a homemade knife. Another term is bitched up. You got booked or bitched up. You got stabbed. Ghetto penthouse. A prison cell with a poor location. Poor location for inmates is when your prison cell is in direct view of the officers. I mean, perfect view. They can see everything you're doing. You know, at the top of the stairwell. That's a bad ghetto penthouse because everybody goes up the stairs and right past your cell, the noise, the racket, everybody's causing a disruption. That's a ghetto penthouse, a bad cell. GP, of course, is general population living with the freedom to move about with the other inmates when you're allowed to. Gunner, an inmate who masturbates while looking at a female officer. Gunner. Yeah, we need to charge them with a crime more often than we have been doing. Heat wave. When one inmate gets busted with drugs and it brings the heat down on the entire dorm. Hey man, the dorm is hot. A major shakedown is going to take place. Dorm and cell search is taking place. The inmates say, man, that guy screwed us up. Now we got a heat wave coming, which is a dorm and cell search. Shakedown. Hooping. Store your drugs up your rectum. Hide it from the cops. Another way to say it is gangster it, man. Hoop it, gangster it, up your rectum. Hide your drugs, hide your contraband. Hooty-hoo, hooty-hoo. You know, new officers walk into some of the jails and prisons, and I know they don't do it everywhere, but they have done it here in Florida. And you hear hooty-hoo, hooty-hoo. And they look at you if you're the trainer and go, what the heck's going on? What's this hooty-hoo? Is that me because I'm new? Are they hooty-hooing me? Possible, but most of the time it's a warning call. Watch out for the correctional officers in the house. Hooty-hoo. Jackrabbit parole. Pretty simple. If you ever watch Cool Hand Luke, if you're as old as me, you got the jackrabbit in him, trying to run, to escape from prison. Jackrabbit parole. Jigs. Lookouts for officers coming around when inmates are tattooing or doing drugs. Put the jigs out. Put the lookouts, in position to watch. Juice. Also known as buck. Homemade prison alcohol made from breads, yeast, fruits, sugars, smuggled food items from food service. Juice or buck. Homemade alcohol. Kite. A prison contraband letter containing information that would jeopardize the safety and security of the prison. Can contain death threats, escape plans, drug deal information, gang activity, and gang codes. That's why it's so important for us to intercept those kites, do an incident report, and attach the kite to it. Ladyfinger. Hey man, don't mess with that him or her. She's got a ladyfinger, meaning a transgender inmate's penis. Okay? Wanting to be a lady but still has a penis. That's a ladyfinger. Don't mess with them. Master lock. Well, to hit someone with a sock and a lock. This has gone on for ages in prisons and jails. Placing a lock into a sock to make it a deadly weapon. And man, can it be a deadly weapon. It can do some damage. Monster. Nah, he's a monster, man. Also known as ninja or the thing. He's got the ninja. He's got the thing. An inmate who's HIV positive. They say monster, ninja, or he got the thing. Ninja Turtles, while we're on that topic. Officers dressed out in full riot gear, ready to come in and take care of business. Also called the Goon Squad. Hey, the Ninja Turtles are coming. Hey, the Goon Squad's coming. Off-brand. An officer who has little experience working in a particular area. Hey, we got an off-brand in here today. Either they're fairly new and don't know what's going on, or they've never worked in that area before and they're not sure of themselves, and the inmates see that. Hey man, we got an off-brand today. Might be the day they can get away with stuff. Off-brand officers in the dorm. Paperweed. You got any paperweed? K2 usually, active cannabinoids, usually sprayed on paper and smoked to get high. Has caused inmates to strip naked and climb fences. This stuff is bad stuff, folks. Bad. Pit. Pit's an old term for the weight pile. You're going to go out to the pit, do some lifting. Now, opposite of ghetto cell is primo cell, which inmates like normally to be a corner cell or a cell out of the view of officers. Takes longer for the officers to see what's going on when you're in a primo cell. Prison dime. A young, tender inmate who some of the other inmates see as a 10 out of 10 on the good look scale. You don't want to be a prison dime in prison. If you look like a prison dime, please don't commit a crime, because you're going to end up doing your dime with some other mates there in prison. Prison wolf, an inmate who is straight on the outside, like a man who only dates women on the outside or has a girlfriend or a wife, but when in prison has sex with men, and then when released goes back strictly to women. Prison wolf. Prison purse, a body cavity used to hide contraband. Punk, term used for homosexuals or weak individuals, also known as ankle grabbers. Quarter roll, term used by inmates meaning amount of drugs expected, such as the size of the quarter roll. Hey baby, you gonna bring me a quarter roll in? Thank you. Just put it in a condom. Quarter roll, size of a quarter roll, put in a condom, put in the body cavity, and smuggled into prison. Inmates can also put the quarter roll after they retrieve it from visitation into their body cavity or leave it behind for a trustee to pick up. Trustee is jail, or in prison, an orderly to pick up out of the trash later and get it back onto the compound. Quarter roll. Queen, a homosexual inmate proudly displaying femininity. That queen has Kool-Aid lipstick and lingerie to boot. Rainbox, it's a prison shower. Man, you stink. You need to go to the rainbox. Ride the leg, when an inmate is sucking up to prison staff member, kissing ass, riding the leg. Inmates don't like ass kissers any more than we do, folks. Rig, a needle usually stolen from medical or parts that are needed to make the rig for shooting up drugs, shooting up heroin. Okay? Shanked, someone was stabbed with a homemade knife. He was shanked. Stainless steel ride. That's death by lethal injection. When someone is put to death by lethal injection, they have taken the stainless steel ride. Tough love, man. Man, that dude got tough love from his family. Letting go of a family member once he or she has gone to prison. Not making excuses for them any longer. Tired of the excuses. Tough love. Uncle Charlie. Nickname for prison administrators, watching from above. Yeah, old Uncle Charlie's up there watching. He may not come down here, but he's up there watching. Had to throw that in. There are prison administrators that do walk the compound, though, folks. Believe me. Viso, pretty simple. Visitation from a family member or friend. Hey, man, they called you for viso or a view. Hey, you got a view. Weak. Term used by inmates for an officer that is vulnerable and easy to fool or manipulate. He's weak. Weak officer. Man, that's wide open. Anything could happen. Man, this compound is wide open for drugs. Any drug you want is wide open here at Polk Correctional, which it was at one time. Wolf tickets. Talks tough with threats. Makes big promises, but does not back it up with proof or muscle. Just talking, man. He's talking wolf tickets again. Yard card. Inmates as a whole or a group of inmates may put another inmate's yard card or pull it. Not the officers. A group of inmates may say, you're not coming on the yard. We pulled your yard card. Okay? Zoom Zoom. Snack foods. I'm starving for some Zoom Zooms. Now, folks, we could go on and on and on with a list, but I'd love to hear what slang words you know that I didn't mention here today. Be glad to hear them, and I thought I'd change it up a bit and do something a little bit different and have a little fun. Let's have some fun. Tell me what you got. Tell me your slang words you've heard and have seen used and what they mean. Appreciate you. Gary York, True Prison Stories. Please subscribe.